Hi, I'm Erica.
Hi, I'm Sienna, and today we are going to be making bird god and goddesses inspired by legend and myths.
Sienna is going to be my helper today, and we've prepared some materials to show you just how to make your project. So you should have received some templates to print out. You can choose one of the birds or more from the templates, and you'll see something like this. Some feathers that you can cut out and wings. All of them are different. And then there should be a second page for the body of the birds and the gods and goddesses. So once you have your printouts, you'll start with one. Sienna is starting with the Thunderbird, a god, goddess inspired by Native American myth and legend. So once you have it printed out, you need to simply cut out the wings and the body along the edges. Sienna is going to cut out the body of her Thunderbird. And we've made ours on regular computer paper, so if that's all you have, we'll show you how to make your bird god or goddess kind of stable so it holds up. If you have some nice cardstock or thicker paper you want to print your bird on, then it will kind of allow your project to be a bit easier. I'll show you what I mean. So this is one of the samples we made. This is Quetzalcoatl, and for this god, I had to tape some construction paper on the back to stabilize the bird. So I cut out really roughly a shape of the bird, taped it on, and then proceeded to tape the back with my sticks and string it up. And we'll show you how to do this later on in the video. But the goal is to have this flying bird god or goddess so that from the bottom it's all beautiful, colored in, and perfect. And you hang it up high in your room or your living room, maybe a foot from the top of the ceiling. So all you'll see when you hang it up is the bottom, which is nice and colored. The back is actually pretty messy. This is where we're doing the work, but you won't see this when it's hanging up high. The tape, the sticks, the strings will all be hidden out of view. I'll show you another one we did out of just computer paper, but we didn't reinforce the back of the bird with construction paper, and we didn't print it on cardstock, so it's a little bit floppier. It's possible, but it's not quite as perfect as the other one. You can see how the wings are a little bit bent at the top, but it's not too bad. If that's all you have, computer paper and no construction paper, it will work. The back of this one is simply the sticks taped on to the printer paper and the strings. And that one there is a phoenix, which you'll have a printout of that's available for you to use. So Sienna's cut out the body of her Thunderbird. Looks awesome. And she already has a cutout of the wings all ready to go to speed things up a bit. So what she's going to do is take her Thunderbird and tape it to the wings on the back of her paper. We've been using some masking tape. It's kind of thick and adds some extra stability to the project, but you can use any kind of tape that you have. I've gone ahead and pre-cut the Quetzalcoatl bird, which is the first one I showed you here. So this Quetzalcoatl has a really beautiful tail feather that you can add, and some extra long feathers too if you want to make the tail really interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and tape my bird together. Sienna's has 2 pieces, so it's really simple. That one's also the easiest to cut out for those of you who don't like to cut around too many edges or angles. The Thunderbird would be the easiest. So once she's got her Thunderbird cut out, she's going to start coloring. And you can use markers, crayons, colored pencil, whatever you'd like. If you printed it on thick paper like cardstock, it may even hold up to some paint, acrylic or tempera. So I've gone ahead and taped the back of my bird god right here. So you can see the back, and on the front, none of the tape shows. So I'm going to start to color my project in too. Good. So I'm going to pause the video while we color, and then we'll come back and show you how to secure the back of the bird with construction paper and wood and string it up so you can hang it in your house. Hi, we're back making our bird gods and goddesses. While you guys have paused your video hopefully and are coloring, we've done some coloring as well. So Sienna's finished her Thunderbird, looks awesome. And I've finished my Quetzalcoatl. So there's some different ways to pronunciate and some kind of differing opinions online about how to say it. We're doing the best we can with what we researched. It seems like it's called Quetzal after the Quetzal bird in Latin America, and Coatl after serpent. So Quetzalcoatl. Kind of a tongue twister. So the next step, once you have your bird cut out and colored, you're going to have to reinforce it with some construction paper if you did not print it on cardstock or some sort of sturdy paper, which we have not. So to do this, you'll take some thick paper, scrap paper, construction paper works fine, and you're going to take a colored pencil or pencil and just really quickly trace a general outline of your bird. So it doesn't have to be perfect because we're actually going to make it a little bit smaller to tape it in on the back of the bird. This is just going to sturdy it up a bit so your wings don't get saggy. So nobody wants their bird god or goddess to have saggy wings. So after you've traced it, you should have something like this, a little outline. But instead of cutting on the exact outline, you're going to cut in a little bit. So if you want, you can make another line kind of following that outer line, only a ½ inch in. So I'm going to do that before I cut and show you what it will look like. Something like this. And you'll cut the inner line. Sorry, the light is a little strong here. So you'll cut the inner line of the bird out. Sienna has hers. She's going to draw a line on the inside of this outer line. And that's so you have room to tape it on the back. And it also makes it so you don't have to cut it out as perfectly. You're not going to see the construction paper, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just going to add some support. Good. So Sienna made an outline on the inside of hers too. So you can cut even a little smaller Sienna on the inside of that inner line. So you'll have something like this that will go on the back of your bird. And once you have it lined up on the back of your bird, you're going to tape it on the back. And if there's any pieces that are showing outside of the front of the bird, don't worry about it. You can always go back and trim those extra pieces off. You just want to make sure you tape it enough so that it's nice and attached to the original coloring. Since we'll be attaching either popsicle sticks or wood gathered from the forest to the back of the bird. Good, so Sienna's cut out the underside of her bird, of her Thunderbird. So she's going to place her Thunderbird face down and tape the blue construction paper to the back of the bird, and it's a perfect cutout for stabilizing the back of her bird. When you're done taping, you'll have something that looks like this. I have white construction paper taped on the back of my printer paper, and the front of the bird, as you can see, doesn't show either the construction paper or the tape. If it does, you can go around and kind of trim up the edges anywhere where it shows. So Sienna's taping her bird together. I'm gonna prep some tape for her. The templates that I've provided for you to color are kind of a starting point. So you have 3 different options. However, if you get really inspired, you can draw your own bird on watercolor paper or construction paper, cut it out and do the same project in your own way. You can see here that Sienna has been inspired to do her own bird. And what's the name of this bird? Goddess?
This is the crow goddess.
So this one is the crow goddess. As you can see, she has some beautiful crows on the front of her dress, some lovely wings, and we're going to make this into a flying goddess as well. So once you have your bird taped to the construction paper, you're going to have sticks or popsicle sticks that fit crosswise, like a cross, on the back of your bird, just like so. What I do is find 2 sticks. These came from the woods right outside of our house, and I fit them like so on the back of the bird. Then I have my 4 strings, which are about 1.5 feet. Sienna's going to start the same thing. She's finished taping the back of her bird, and she's going to lay her sticks as well in a cross on the back of her bird. And some of you may need a little bit of help from an adult for this part. Basically, before we tape the sticks on, we're going to be tying either fishing line or yarn or even
Some string.
some floss to the back of the sticks. You're going to tie it to the edge or near the edge of each end of your stick. So you'll have 4 strings attached. And we're doing this before we tape. Make sure you use a double knot so your strings don't detach from your bird. If you don't want your strings to show, I'd recommend fishing line. But we like this nice colored floss that we have, which seems to work well. And having these 4 points attached helps your bird stay in one position so it doesn't flip and flop all over the place. Really, I want you to use whatever you have here, whatever you can find. So whatever kind of string you have, whatever kind of wood, you could even use straws if you don't have popsicle sticks or sticks. You can use plastic spoons. There's all kinds of things. You could even use some thick cardboard cut into strips. Good. So I have my 4 strings attached here. And I'm going to try to pick it up and show you. Looks something like this. Okay? Almost like a kite. Once you have your strings attached, you'll kind of pull them out to the edges so they're not in the way for when you start to tape. Good. Sienna's taping, or she's tying the strings to the edges of her sticks. And we're going to get out our handy dandy masking tape. And begin to tape the sticks to the back of the bird. And you'll have the strings taped to all 4 corners, and then this cross taped to the back of the bird. Of course, from the front, you won't see any of that work. If you're using the Quetzalcoatl bird, these long tail feathers can kind of hang free, and they'll kind of hang beneath the bird. You'll have to secure the strings together by pinching them together at the top and holding the bird up by the strings. And again, you might need an adult for this part. So at this point, you want to make sure that your bird's hanging nice and evenly. So you want to kind of line up the strings. You may need to pull one a little longer, or maybe shorten the tail so that the tail's not hanging too far down. And once it's about even, parallel to the floor, you'll pinch the top and tie a little knot. Just like so. And then you'll tie another knot above that top knot so you have something to hang it off of your ceiling with. Good. And that's what you have. So the bottom is all done. I have a little bit of tape overhanging that I'm going to cut off. Sienna's working on hers, and then we'll show you how to string up hers next. So I'm just going to trim off any extra tape that's showing, because sometimes it's hard to tear the tape the perfect length. Alright, so mine is pretty much finished. So if you were to hang this up on the ceiling way up high, maybe above your bed, all you would see would be the bottom. And it might move with the wind a bit, or when you close your door, and kind of guard over your bed. We've also attached some different resources for you to look at and research the meanings and the history of these 3 birds that we, and the bird goddesses that we've provided for you. So I encourage you to look into the history of these interesting mythological creatures. It's really fascinating and will help to inspire your work. We're going to move over here to Sienna's Thunderbird, which is looking awesome. She has her 4 strings hanging down perfectly here, these rainbow strings, and she's just trimming some of this tape off. Perfect. So this looks great. No tape is showing. The back is taped together with the sticks. So she has this beautiful bird, beautiful Thunderbird. And here we'll hold the strings together. And this wing is a little down too far, so we're just gonna lengthen the other wing and start to even things out here before we tie it together. Good, so this is looking great. Sienna's done a fantastic job. So we've tied hers together, as you can see, and that construction paper has made it nice and sturdy, and she's going to have a beautiful Thunderbird to hang over her bed or over her desk in her room. So here we've showed you how to make 2 of the printout gods, goddesses that we've provided for you. We hope you have fun making yours and are inspired to create your own versions of these birds. So thank you, Sienna, for your help, and take care. We will see you soon. Thank you.